is a presentation of the Match Talk Podcast Network.
It's better than indoor plumbing. It's better than electricity. It's better than the thermos bottle. That's right. It's the 2017 Matt Talk Online Digital Fan Guide Division I Preview, simply calling it The Guide. Over 200 pages digitally delivered to you March 14th. Pre-sale, pre-orders, available now. MattTalkOnline.com/FanGuide17. Listening to this show, you will get $5 off if you use the offer code PODCAST. That's PODCAST. Offer code when you buy it at MattTalkOnline.com/FanGuide17. Over 200 pages of facts, stats, history. Every single wrestler competing in St. Louis, every single score all season long. History, 4-time All-Americans, 3-time national champions. Who's got the most All-Americans all time? Which coach has the most titles? How do they rank top 10? Everything in this guide, digitally delivered, optimized for your tablet and iPad, but it works just fine on your computer. And if you feel like going to Kinko's, you can print it out. It's going to be a lot of paper. But anyway, retailing at $19.99. You listen to this show, and any show on the Matt Talk Podcast Network with regularity, use the promo code, I'm going to say it really lightly now, podcast. Yep, use podcast. That way I know you're listening. You'll save $5. It is worth it. ESPN loves it. You've heard my sound bites on other shows about how much Adam Amin used this thing when he was with ESPN. I'm going to stop belaboring the point right now, and we'll get to our show. But MattTalkOnline.com/FanGuide17. The guide, this thing, the most unbelievable Division I preview guide ever assembled, and it just keeps getting better every year. You'll want it for your fantasy contests. You'll want it for your knowledge bombs. You'll want it sitting there in the arena going, okay, hey, who's this guy? Boom, there he goes. Also got tweet your direct social media stuff right to it. It's an interactive guide. You'll be able to pop up a podcast that's related to who's going on and what's going on. You'll want to get this. MattTalkOnline.com/FanGuide17, promo code podcast. Save yourself $5. You will not regret it.
It's time for the ODU Wrestling Monarch Mattcast, a show dedicated to all things related to the Old Dominion Wrestling program. On the web at monarchmattcast.com. Now, here's your host, 3-time National Wrestling Writer and Broadcaster of the Year, and 2004 ODU alumnus, Jason Bryant.
Episode 41 of the Old Dominion Monarch Mattcast. Jason Bryant here with you. No guest today as we are floating around the Midwest. I am currently sitting in Topeka at the Kansas Expo Center at Landon Arena. I'll be the PA announcer for the NAIA National Championships coming up this weekend, but also this weekend, a big weekend in college wrestling. I've said weekend 4 times. Let's say it again, weekend. The Old Dominion Monarchs are in Cedar Falls, Iowa, March 4th and 5th for the MAC Championships. That at the McLeod Center. And I said previously on this program it was at West Gym. No, it'll be at the McLeod Center, their basketball arena, of course. Monarch Nation will know that facility based on previous trips that the ODU men's basketball team has spent during bracket busters and things like that. Anyway, this is the weekend. There's that word again, weekend, that will determine whether or not we will see a certain number of Monarchs at the Scott Trade Center at the 2017 NCAA Division I Wrestling Championships. While I've got you on the horn about those championships, let you know, go back to the beginning of the show. You can hear that promo for the preview guide that we've got coming out from Matt Talk Online. Go to MattTalkOnline.com/FanGuide17. Use the promo code podcast. Save yourself $5. Before we even get going to St. Louis, we'll say that there is an Old Dominion fan social from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Budweiser Brew House that Wednesday before the Division I Nationals. Contact Bill Calley, Charlie Church. You can go through Mike Dixon to find that information. It's a booster club function, so that is at the Budweiser Brew House, part of that Fox Sports Live complex next to Busch Stadium, 6 to 9 p.m. I'll actually be there for my National Wrestling Media Association social, which will be at the same time, same bat place, and I will actually, and it's not by design, it's like the third straight year in St. Louis, rather, that I've had the media social at the same place as the Old Dominion Wrestling social, but we actually haven't cooperated on that. It's just been by chance. So Charlie Church, Bill Calley, and crew with the Booster Club. You can hear there's pallets of tables coming in here as you get the full effect here in Topeka. So let's break down what we will expect to see from the Monarchs, and let's talk about the prospectus of making the tournament here at the upcoming Mid-American Conference Championships. Once again, March 4th and 5th at the McLeod Center. Believe this will be streamed live on Flow Wrestling, so if you have a Flow Pro account, you will check that. It actually also might, you know what, I take that back. That's probably going to be on ESPN3 because the Mid-American Conference has a plan with them. I believe the brackets will be on TrackWrestling.com. So we'll have that information out. Check Twitter at ODU Wrestling to find that, or follow me at Jason M. Bryant. And you can go to MadTalkOnline.com/Tourney, TOURNEY 17 to get the links to all of the postseason championships. Now, let's talk turkey with the MAC. 125 pounds. This weight class will qualify 5 wrestlers. Steve Simpson, the redshirt freshman out of Maryland, is in the 8-9 spot, so he will have basically, for lack of a better term, a wrestle-in match against Corey Simpson of Kent State, whom he defeated in the dual meet. The winner will slide into the bracket position to take on the top seed Shakur Laney of Ohio U. Not out of the realm of possibility for Mr. Simpson to qualify for the tournament. He's going to have to wrestle better than he has all year. And here's the thing. The conference has 5 at this weight class, but there's a 2-time All-American sitting at the number 6 seed. The 2 top guys in terms of rankings for most of the year, Barlow McGee of Missouri and Dylan Peters of Northern Iowa, are seeded 5th and 6th. And this is one thing, as you look at the rankings and the thing, you're like, well, wait a minute. These guys are ranked this high. Why are they the 5 and 6 seeds? I got to say, the MAC does a pretty good job at ranking guys in the seedings based on their in-conference matches. Now, there are situations where a conference match went the other way. You'll see a guy seated below somebody whom he had beaten, or vice versa. Well, that's just kind of the nature of wrestling with these triangles. But the way the breakdown is Ohio University has 2 number 1 seeds. Northern Iowa has 3 number 1 seeds. Missouri has the other 5. One of those 2 for Ohio U is Shakur Laney of Ohio, who did qualify for the NCAA championships last year. Simpson, again, having a bit of a rough year. Not out of the realm of possibility, but he's going to have to wrestle way above himself, at least based on his performances this year, to even qualify a berth. Is Shakur Laney of Ohio, the 1 seed, Brent Fleetwood of Central Michigan, the 2, Kyle Akins of Buffalo, the 3, Noah Gonzer of Eastern Michigan, the 4, the aforementioned Barlow McGee at 5, Dylan Peters of Northern Iowa, 6, Brock Hudkins of Northern Illinois, the 7 seed. So we could see Simpson get a win on the backside should he knock off Corey Simpson, whom he defeated earlier in the year. Moving to 133 pounds. This one with 6 bursts, and this is an opportunity for Alex Madrigal to steal a bid. The top 6, Josh Alber of UNI, John Ernesti of Missouri, Cameron Kelly of Ohio, Brian Lantry of Buffalo, Corey Keener of Central Michigan, Anthony Tutullo of Kent State. Then Madrigal. The 8-9s are Elijah Jeffrey of Northern Iowa and Siderian Perry of Eastern Michigan. So sitting at the 7, it's just going to take one type of upset to knock this balance out of whack. And Madrigal, he's going to be in the situation with a quarterfinal with Ernesti, who pinned him in a spladle earlier this year. And if you remember that match, it was in November, is that Madrigal was leading right off the bat. And Ernesti was not supposed to be the starter here at this weight class. And he's actually worked into himself to be ranked about 13th in the country. So this is a winnable quarterfinal, even though Ernesti is the number 2 seeds, had a very good year. This is a winnable quarterfinal for Madrigal. If he can get that position and steal a bid, the Monarchs with an opportunity to get a berth at 133. It's going to have to be wrestled in, because I don't believe Madrigal's resume this season would merit an at-large bid if he does not steal a bid at 133 pounds. 141 pounds, just 2 bids at this weight class. And as we mentioned, we've seen different bids. The bids are assigned based on your in-season performance and of a measure of 3 things. So your coach's rank, which all coaches, not all coaches, but there are several coaches per conference that will rank wrestlers in a weight class. So it's like 2 per weight per conference, and then we break it out, and then each coaches have different weight classes that they rank. Then there's the RPI, which is a ratings percentage index, which you basketball fans would know about. It's not actually a rank of how good you are. It's a measure of how good your strength of schedule is. So it's your win percentage. It's actually your opponent's win percentage and your opponent's win percentage. So that is how the RPI is developed. And then the other one is your win percentage overall, your record. So you got to have a pretty good record, you got to have a pretty good RPI, and you got to have a pretty good coach's rank. You hit 3 of those benchmarks, or 2 of those benchmarks. It's gold, silver, and bronze status. You have qualified a spot. Not you haven't qualified, but you have qualified your conference in automatic berths. So then they will wrestle through. So now, back to 141 pounds. Jaden Ironman, the top seed in Missouri. Noah Forrider of Ohio, the number 2. Mason Smith, the 3. Kyle Springer, the 4. Kevin Budak of Old Dominion, the 5. Angel Velasquez of Northern Illinois. I almost said UNI. It's NIU in that case. Northern Illinois, the 6. Jason Estevez, the 7. Jake Hodges and Chance Driscoll, the 8-9. And the prospectus here for Budak, 4-5, winnable match, even though Kyle Springer has had some good wins this year. Matter of fact, Springer does have a win over previous 2-time All-American Chris McCarty last year. So that's a tough spot for him to be in the 4-5 and then have a guy like Jaden Ironman in the semifinals, who is just a funk master. He's a redshirt freshman out of Missouri. His dad, Mike Ironman, stepdad, but basically his dad. He's taken his last name. This guy taught Ben Askren a lot of the funk. So a tough draw here. Budak pulled out a red shirt. Might be in a situation for an at-large based on some of the wins. He's got to knock off some people here. Again, not the most ideal situation for the Monarchs to try to qualify a bid here. But, you know, outside of Ironman, there's nothing that says that Budak can't beat any of these guys. So he's already beaten Mason Smith, who's the 3 seed, which is kind of the argument. It's like, okay, what's going to happen here? So Budak going to have to get some work done, the true freshman out of Good Counsel High School in Maryland. He is the 5 seed. Again, outside shot there. Now moving to 149 pounds. This is where Mikey Hayes, if he wrestles to his seed, he will qualify. There are 5 at this weight class. Levon Mays, the All-American of Missouri, 2 times, is the top seed. Justin Oliver, All-American from Central Michigan. He is the 2 seed. Max Thompson of Northern Iowa is the 3. Steve Blyes, the past Midlands runner-up from Northern Illinois. He is the 4. Mikey Hayes is 5. Followed by Nick Barber of Eastern Michigan and Colt Cotton of Buffalo at the 6-7. With the 4-5, Hayes has got to beat Steve Blyes. So that's a tough one. Blyes he's a scrappy kid. He's going to be a tough draw. And then you're going to have Levon Mays, who kind of handled Mikey here at the dual meet back in November. So the key is if you get to, he's just got to wrestle to a seed. If he's in that 5th place match and wins that 5th place match, he's going to the show. He's actually in a decent spot for an at-large, but you'd like to see a guy like Mikey Hayes, who's been on the show a couple weeks ago as he was a walk-on. He was a walk-on and earned himself a spot in the starting lineup, earned him a spot as a scholarship athlete at Old Dominion. I like his perspective. Do I like his opportunity to beat Mays? Maybe not right off the bat. I like his chances against Blyes. If he wrestles this the way he did Davion Jeffries, he's in good shape. If he wrestles this like he did against Justin Oliver, he could be in trouble. So 2 All-Americans at the weight. Max Thompson from UNI, a tough out as a 3 seed, but 4-5, then 1. Then we're looking at who you're dropping to see in the consolation semifinals and things of that nature. So win that first one, you're in a lot better shape. You don't want to be coming through the consolations because upsets will happen at this weight, especially with things that happen involving Colt Cotton. No comment. They're 157 pounds, just 2 at the weight, and there is a key match that is going to determine whether or not transfer Larry Early, who was one of the top-ranked recruits in the country before he signed with Minnesota, before he transferred in, though, he didn't have enough matches to qualify a spot. And what's surprising me is Caden McWhorter or Casey Sparkman didn't qualify a spot for the conference either. Joey LaValle of Missouri is the 1 seed. Colin Heffernan of Central Michigan is the 2. That is key. Remember that in a second. Caden McWhorter of Illinois has been ranked in 1920 all year based on some early season wins. He is the number 3 seed. Number 4 seed, Casey Sparkman of Kent State. Cullen Cummings of Ohio, the 5 seed. Larry Early has beaten him. Zach Carson, the 6 seed from Eastern Michigan. And then Larry Early coming in at the number 7. Alex Smith of Buffalo, Padden Moore of Northern Iowa, the 8-9. So Early, right off the bat, has got to go against Colin Heffernan. He's a crafty kid. He's been around for a while. He bumped up 2 weights last year. Was at 41, then bumps up to 57. Ends up, he's in a situation. Justin Oliver bumped him out of the lineup last year. So then we look at that. So the 2-7 just to get to the semifinals. Larry Early has to beat Colin Heffernan to even be really considered on the board. And this is the risk you take entering the season at semester. You don't have a whole lot of matches to really look for a bronze or a wild card here. Now, Early did wrestle the Appalachian State Open. He has picked up some extra matches, but I don't think he's going to have enough if he does not make the finals. The key is he's got to beat Colin Heffernan of Central Michigan, and I'm guaranteeing you right now that Coach Dixon and Coach Steve Martin are analyzing film, and they're analyzing tape on this. Tape. Who uses tape anymore? Who uses film? Film's even worse than tape. They're analyzing the video to see where they can exploit Colin Heffernan. One thing Larry Early does is he scores points. So that's something the Monarch Nation is going to have to keep an eye on. That 7-2 quarterfinal with Early and Heffernan is really, you really can't look past. You've got to win that one to even start looking into that, because then you'll get the winner of the 3-6, which is Carson McWhirter, both winnable matches for Larry Early. Colin Heffern in that match is the key for Larry Early to get to nationals. At 165 pounds, Selden Wright, the number 3 seed. Top seed here, Daniel Lewis of Missouri, Bryce Steyert of Northern Iowa, followed by Selden Wright at number 3. Wrestle to seed, you won't have a problem here. The problem, though, is the draw, because Tyler Rill of Buffalo is the number 6 seed, and he ate up Selden in the dual meet. With hitting the same move time after time after time and got a major decision. So that's another thing where they're looking at the video. They're trying to identify where to not let that exploit happen. Tyler Rill of Buffalo is the most dangerous draw in this thing for Selden Wright as his 3 seed. Selden, they wrestle to seed. Selden Wright gets 3. He's going to the show. So again, 3-6. Tyler Rill, not the guy you want to see. He was seconds away from beating Bryce Steyert in the dual meet. Actually was in deep on a double before the buzzer went out and before they landed and planted. So this is an opportunity for Selden Wright to make the finals, but he's really got to get past Tyler Rill in the opening match, the 3-6 match at 165 pounds. Otherwise, it could be somewhat of a disastrous tournament. Now, Selden sitting in a very good spot to get an at-large bid, but again, you do not want to be in a position to where you're relying on the committee to determine things. I thought Selden was in a good spot to get a bid last year, and he wasn't even on the board. So something to consider there. 174 pounds. There are 4 bids here. Antonio Agee, the true freshman out of Hayfield, he is the number 7 seed. Kind of a tough spot to be in. Got to wrestle that 3rd place. Getting 3rd place here might be tough because Taylor Luwan's the 1, C.J. Bruckey of Central Michigan the 2, Trace Engelkiss of Northern Iowa the 3. He's got good wins this year. Notably not in the top 3 right now. The number 4 seed, Dylan Wisman of Missouri. Him and Luwan as a semifinal will be fireworks. That'll be great. Agee, really, really tough to sit here and try to justify a situation where you think he's going to qualify. He's improved throughout the course of the year. It's probably a year away, but looking for any type of solid performance here from Antonio Agee. Bruckey, I think, is a winnable match, but it's going to take more than just an upset of the number 2 seed to get to nationals here. 184 pounds. This is a tremendous weight nationally. Top 3 here qualifying, as it shouldn't be anything but chalk here in terms of who qualifies, not necessarily the order. Drew Foster had the big upset. He is the number 1 seed out of Northern Iowa. He actually had the big upset over Jack Decco to start the year. Decco, the number 2 seed. Jordan Ellingwood, a guy that's given him problems, the number 3 seed. Decco did beat Ellingwood during the year with a late takedown, split with him last year. This is it's not an ideal draw, but Drew Foster, by virtue of beating Jack Decco back early part of the season in November near Thanksgiving holiday, actually set himself up for the rest of the year because he really wasn't tested, because once you get past Ellingwood, not a whole lot to write home about at this weight. So don't expect Jack Decco to have any problems qualifying. Can he win a MAC championship? That is the question. 197 pounds, Jaden Cox, the 2-time national champion, 3-time All-American, and Olympic bronze medalist, is your top seed. From Missouri, Kevin Beasley, the number 2, Sean Scott, the number 3, Austin Severn of Central Michigan, the 4. Now, when we look at that weight class, one thing you'll notice is that Austin Severn beat Kevin Beasley in the dual meet earlier this year. Well, Severn has some other losses. And then you've got Steven Suglio, who Beasley pinned, is the 5. Scrappy kid Jacob Holschlag is the number 6. That's a dangerous draw for Sean Scott. Nate Rose from Buffalo, interesting story. This kid represented Trinidad and Tobago at the 2015 World Championships in Las Vegas. A beat the streets kid out of New York City. So he's a young kid. He's about 19. Wrestled the World Championships in freestyle. He's the number 7. We will not see James Benjamin here. That's crucial because Benjamin had a win over Beasley, which ultimately was one of the keys that helped Buffalo upset the Monarchs during the course of the year. So the 2-3 as you look at with 3, actually in this weight, 5 on the board. 5 on the board. So this shouldn't be an issue for Beasley in any stretch of the imagination. But top 5 go. Wrestle to seed. I mean, you can even have a bad tournament. I mean, you could just basically fall face the planet and probably still go. Beasley, the 2, going to have to wrestle Sean Scott for the 527th time. Yeah, he beat him this year for the first time in, forever. And now the berth to the finals is going to be on the line should the 2 meet in the semifinals. And no, that's kind of expected. Again, although that Holschlag-Sean Scott match, the UNI-NIU match, could cause a little problems for the brackets because Beasley-Scott is going to probably be one of those matches like it's going to be 2-1 tiebreaker 2 or something like that because these guys always wrestle 1-point matches, and it's going to be a really boring, ugly, but it's going to be heated. So, Beasley and Scott, both Michigan kids, this is going to be something worth watching. Austin Severn, of course, the number 4 seed, also a Michigan kid. Now we go to heavyweight, and this is interesting that 3 wrestlers qualify out of the conference, and the 3 guys who likely qualified bids, they're not the top 3 seeds. I expect, Austin Myers is the 2 seed. He likely qualified. I haven't really analyzed, but Zach Parker of Ohio is the 1. Austin Myers of Missouri is the 2. J.J. Everhard of Northern Iowa, he's a transfer from South Dakota State. He is the 3 seed, followed by Newton Smirchek, the 4. Jake Gunning, the 5 of Buffalo. Smirchek from Central Michigan. Gage Hutchison of Eastern Michigan, the 6. Devin Nye, the 7 from Kent State. Will Hilliard, the true freshman. He is the number in the 8-9 spot, with Caleb Gossett, who he defeated early in the year. That'll give him Zach Parker from Ohio. Basically, just toss some dice in a bucket and roll it and yell Yahtzee. That's who's going to win this weight class. I don't know if Hilliard's got enough to right now, he's still a little small for the weight. He's definitely got the ability. I still think, like AG, just a year away from really making an impact at this weight class. But that's my opinion, not the opinion of the coaching staffs. But that's basically your MAC championship rundown, weight by weight, and the prospectus for Old Dominion. If we have to look at this thing, let's see. We're looking at 84.97. I'm just going to now look at this on paper because they wrestle tournaments on paper. 84.97, I think, are locks. 65, I also think, is a lock. So there's 3 right there, with the possibility of Mikey Hayes wrestling the seed would be 4. The key is seeing if Madrigal can get through at 33 and Early can get through at 57. I think those are our best shots. So looking at 4, I'd say there's probably the chances of getting 4 to the show very strong. 6 is probably the high water mark here. 2 All-American candidates in terms of looking at it realistically, not necessarily as truly through blue and silver glasses. But I think Deco and Beasley, based on their rank, probably in the best situation. So that's the rundown from the what's coming up with the MAC championships here on the ODU Wrestling Monarch MACcast. So I'll hear in Topeka. I won't even be able to see it until I get home, but that's the rundown. And for those of you that want to make it to Cedar Falls, it's at the McLeod Center, 4th and 5th, the MAC championships. You can't see it, ESPN3. That's where I did verify while we were on a break, ESPN3 brackets, trackwrestling.com. So that's what I got. So from here in Topeka, let's travel safe and, War Monarchs, right?
This show is part of the Matt Talk Podcast Network. For more wrestling podcasts, head over to MattTalkOnline.com.